Hello, I'm John Huddle, and thank you for listening. Today I'm going to talk about an unforgettable day in Asheville, North Carolina. This past Thursday, I drove to Asheville and took pictures of the U.S. District Courthouse and asked questions of the guys out front in order to prepare for Friday. Friday would be my first trip to witness a session in this courthouse, and I wanted to leave nothing to chance. This move turned out to be worth the time and the effort. Friday's schedule included a 9:15 plea hearing for Jason Gross and a 10 a.m. plea hearing for Dr. Jerry Gross. In front of these two hearings, another man was before the magistrate, who was Magistrate Judge Dennis Howell. This man was already incarcerated and was facing additional charges. His hearing ended, and Jason Gross and his attorney took their appointed seats. The courtroom itself was more ornate than some I'd been to in the past. The gallery was super small, approximately only room for about 20 people. 2 long pews or benches was all that was afforded for the gallery. So in the future, it's important to realize you need to be early for any session in this courtroom. This courtroom, though it was laid out with a small gallery, it was electronically fitted with monitors and a lot of equipment, signature pads and copiers and scanners, and it was very up to date. And it had a very good sound system. The court reporter sat in a command chair up front in front of the judge with a scanner, a printer, and a couple different monitors, whatever was needed to facilitate the flow of documents, and there were many documents in this hearing. There was a large monitor TV screen mounted facing the judge to the top right. The jury box even had several small monitors to where the jurors could look closely at any material or any video put on them. Facing the judge on his bench, there was a lamp on each end to the right or to the left. The seal of the court was on the wall behind him, and he had everything he needed to make the documents move quickly. There was one picture on the wall of a court scene and 3 large windows with plantation blinds. The long and the short is, don't be late in this particular courthouse. As we went through the day, the judge, Magistrate Dennis Howell, was meticulous and detailed to administer each step of the proceeding with the gravity and sincerity. At no time did he appear frustrated or in the least bit bothered by his duties. He read every document aloud and made sure Jason and Jerry understood every pivotal point of the proceedings. He navigated through the required legal steps with consideration for how the decisions made and the documents signed that day would affect Jason and Jerry for years to come. Jason Gross, under counsel from his attorney, had waived the indictment and trial by jury process. At one point, the attorney for the U.S., Daniel V. Bradley, was required to tell the court what he believed could be proved if the case went to trial. Jason listened and was asked if he believed these things were true, and he answered yes. The question on my mind was, how could defrauding the state of North Carolina become a federal case? It was explained that during the time period 2009 to 2013, the U.S. federal government was supplementing the ability of the states, including North Carolina, to pay unemployment claims. When a benefit was issued, the funds were initiated by an ACH, or automatic clearinghouse, transaction through a Federal Reserve Bank. There are 12 Federal Reserve branches in the U.S., and none of them are located in North Carolina. Therefore, the funds crossed state lines and became an interstate commerce transaction. Thus, the U.S. government, more specifically the FBI, became involved. The fraud was not just against the state of North Carolina, but against the United States government. The plea agreement entered into was not read word for word. However, the main parts were reviewed by the judge, and he made sure Jason understood the scope of the agreement. Jason and his attorney signed the agreement. During the recap of the agreement, it was not disclosed that Jason was cooperating with the government. There was one point where the U.S. attorney asked the judge to require Jason not to discuss the case with other people, stating this investigation was a part of a larger, more broad or comprehensive investigation. The judge said, "Give me a list of names of people he's not supposed to speak with." The U.S. Attorney Bradley grimaced and was not willing to mention the names. This must be a far-reaching investigation. The judge qualified the restrictions on discussing the case to mean Jason was to talk to no one other than his attorney and the investigators. He was warned not to discuss this case even with Jerry. You can talk about sports, you can talk about family gatherings, you can talk about anything, but not this case. U.S. Attorney Bradley stopped short of discussing the other people involved in this investigation or the other facets of related investigations for obvious reasons. The conditions of Jason's release also include submitting to DNA sample if required, staying away from alcohol, drugs, or those who deal drugs, look for employment, not breaking the law, appear in court when required. He also was required to sign a $200,000 unsecured bond. He was required to surrender his passport and not apply for a new passport. His travel was limited to the Western District of North Carolina, the Middle District of North Carolina, because that's where his attorney is, and South Carolina. He has to get rid of any of his guns, submit to random searches of his home, car, and electronic devices. He also consented to a money judgment equal to the amount of the benefits he received, $38,084. The entire process for Jason took over an hour. After a short recess, it was Jerry's turn. His process was basically the same. The amount he received in benefits was larger, though, $43,036. The money judgment was for that amount. Instead of seeking employment, the judge asked Jerry if he was retired, and he confirmed he was. The list of restrictions mirrored Jason's: a $200,000 unsecured bond, forfeit his passport, restricted level of travel, and most assuredly do not discuss this case with anyone except your attorney and investigators. He was reminded not to discuss this case with Jason. One difference in Jerry's hearing, the U.S. attorney mentioned in paragraph 6 of the plea agreement Jerry was assisting the government as requested. That's not a direct quote, but that's the gist of what he said. However, what many had suspected was now said in open court. Jerry was telling the whole truth. When I heard this statement, I punched the person beside me who was also taking notes. They nodded. In reality, I believe Jason is doing the same as his father. Why not? There's no bonus for holding back now. They could have been facing multiple counts and took the conditional plea to cooperate and lessen their sentence. This is even more likely since the factual basis document that was referred to in court listed the initials RG and the initials TG as receiving $34,087 and $34,072, respectively, in unemployment benefits. Could this be Jerry's wife and Bobby, which is her nickname, and Jason's wife, Tanya Gross? Did Jerry and Jason agree to plead to keep their wives out of the legal spotlight or worse? As I write this, it's the wee hours of Saturday morning. Social media has been ablaze for hours with news reports, comments from ex-members and observers. The AP posted a summary article outlining how we got to this point. This release circulated near and far. Local television reports showed film clips of the two couples walking into the courthouse. At least one station interviewed the attorneys for Jason and Jerry. There has been time to reflect on the happenings of the day and how events may unfold in the months ahead. Just a few hours ago, I realized that my level of respect for Jason Gross and Jerry Gross has increased after today's hearings. No, I don't believe they care what I think. However, I saw two men admitting in court and to the world that what they did was wrong. They were willing to be forthright and face the consequences. Are these actions closer to what some consider biblical teaching? Is this closer than when you're accused taking the course to deny, and delay? The evidence was apparently very strong, and rather than to deny it, they decided on admitting and working out a best-case solution for them and their wives. Of course, I've not talked with either of them, and I might be totally off on this point. But for now, I believe Jason and Jerry Gross can sleep better knowing that they have done the best in a very negative and gloomy situation. If I could shake their hand and look them in the eyes, I would, and from the bottom of my heart, I would say thank you. The course of events were set in motion with the first AP release on February 27th of 2017 did not end yesterday, on Friday. In my opinion, things will move forward at a faster pace. This may be just the hottest summer. This may just be the hottest summer on record in Spindale. Just a note. In one of the interviews on television, the attorneys for Jerry and Jason Gross were asked a question along the lines if their clients could be helping with other investigations, if this investigation was related to some others surrounding the church. I'm not sure the exact question, but their statement was, no, the sum total of the investigation, the case against our clients, was included in the factual basis document. Well, if you look at that document in paragraph 2, it says, this document does not attempt to represent all the facts known by the U.S. government at this time. So, no, the total scope of this investigation or the others related was not put forth in a document to where others would know about it. I'm not sure if their attorneys were not familiar with that statement or just not willing to admit that their clients could be helping with other companies that may have been a part of this scheme. Anyway, it was an unforgettable day in Asheville. There's more to come. I have a feeling that we'll be going back to that courthouse for other hearings. I hope you've enjoyed this recording. Please comment and share. Thank you for listening.